Hi there, I'm Psaila and welcome to today's episode. Today I'm really excited to share with you how to use uncovering questions to close the sale. Now, what do I mean by uncovering questions? Well, a lot of times what we're trying to do is to get through clients' resistance barriers. What we're trying to do is really understand what's, in the client's head or what's in the prospect's head before they become a client. Why? Because I'm trying to understand how to position my product or service to make sure that they feel that it's good for them and it's win for me. Remember, it's not about trying to, grind somebody down and, use coercion methods or anything like that to be able to, connect with your client to see value in your product or service and make a decision moving forward. It's not that at all. However, sales is strategic, right? Good salespeople make it so smooth for people to be able to connect and do business with that it doesn't seem like a sales process. They make it comfortable. Why? Because it doesn't need to be this, am I making the right decision? Oh, I don't know, I'm filled full of fear, or, the business owner's trying to pound them into submission. It doesn't need to be that at all. And you don't need a whole ton of, wacky zany gimmicks in order for somebody to, make the right buying decision. It's really about understanding what you need to know in order to position your product or service in a favorable light, so then the client is able to move forward with that purchase. And the reason being is they're already pre-programmed, and obviously in some cases they've been, in a bad situation where they've bought a product or a service and it's actually either cost them time, money, or it just hasn't been good for them. So you're trying to get over that by being confident in what you do and ask the right questions. By the way, write this down. The right questions equal to the right, lead to the right answer, and it's important you ask the right questions to start with rather than stuff that really doesn't lead you to where you need to get to. All right, number one is, find out what the client's objection is. So, objective is. So find out, what's the client's objective? So, Mr. or Mrs. or Miss Prospect. So, can you tell me a little bit about, what you're hoping to, achieve with my product? Or you just tell me a bit about, why me and why have we connected like this? Well, here's what I want to achieve. In my case, as an example, I ask people, so tell me a bit about, why me, and what are you trying to do with your business? Well, I want to grow it, or it feels stagnant at the moment and I really need some help. I'm not in the right mindset. I've had a couple of problems before. Money's a bit of a thing and I'm trying to grow that, right? So they're telling me about what their objective is to deal with, with me. And by the way, I'm usually writing these down, so I don't remember. There's this whole thing where people go, don't write it down because it looks unprofessional. Well, in actual fact, I believe it's the opposite. If you don't write it down and you can't remember stuff, if you've got a brain like mine, right, I need to write stuff down so then I can refer back to it and check it off to make sure, hey, is this exactly what you're after, rather than me bloody guessing. It's ridiculous. Whatever it takes for you to do it. And by the way, good salespeople actually do this, whether it's in retail scenarios, whether it's in car sales, house sales, product sales, whatever it may be, right? The really good, clever salespeople understand that there's no shame in writing it down. It actually feels that you're connecting with the client more, right? So important to do. Number two is tell me a bit about you. I want to know more about the person. So I want to ask things, is there something maybe that you're maybe uncomfortable about, or have you had any situations before where you've gone for the same product and it just hasn't been right for you? Or if you've bought something or you've got the existing supplier, as an example, is there maybe certain things that you don't like about that supplier, or what is it that you do like? Tell me a bit about you and what your likes or dislikes are dealing with that person, right? So as an example, I've had companies that sell wholesale foods, as an example, and a lot of the businesses that they've gone into already have a supplier, but what we want to do is find out a little bit more about what they didn't or they did like. In a lot of cases they said, they were late with the product, there was a lot of returns and we didn't like them, they didn't, weren't open on a particular day, so it was tough. And then things that they did like was, they gave us a really good account, right? They didn't sort of hassle us, for paying the invoices and all those type of things. So we were trying to find out what it is that I need to uncover to understand how my product or service works. In your case, how yours, sits in with the client's needs, right? Now, number 3 is, when are they looking at doing some business? Because a lot of times you can go through this whole, sales pitch and then find out that they don't need it for about a year or 2 years, or they're just, inquiring now because they haven't even made up their mind in order to do that, right? I've got builders that some people ring them 2 or 3 or 4 years before they're actually thinking of doing it, just to get some information. That's cool, but it doesn't mean that it's going to, make any money in the near future, right? So when are you looking at, moving ahead? So, Mr. and Mrs. or Miss Prospect, when are you looking at moving ahead with this lounge suite? When are you hoping to take delivery, of the, dining room suite, as an example? Oh, well, I need it before Christmas. This already tells you that they're engaged. They know when that they want to do it. So you're able to say, look, you know what? I think we could probably squeeze that in there. If there's someone's talking to you in November or early December, you go, well, we might cut it fine, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to do my best to make sure that you have that, in front at your place before Christmas, so you can enjoy those festivities, right? So when is really important. Now, number 4 is, what do they need to see, feel, and hear? So I want to be able to speak to a prospect and say, so what is it that you need to see in order for you to move forward with this? And the reason I'm asking see is if, a lot of people go, well, I need to see the quote, or I need to, see what this pergola is going to look like, or, I'm a touchy-feely kind of guy, or, I really need to, hear that, your credibility is going to be good, or I want to make sure, that you're going to be the right person for me. Do you see that I'm already listening to their language patterns by asking them that? Do you need to, are you a touchy-feely kind of person? Do you need to, see and touch the object so you get an understanding? So as an example, if something's a kinesthetic object that I'm selling, like maybe a motorcycle or a car, or, maybe, I don't know, like a table, a chair, anything like this that you need to sit in it, you need to feel it, well, obviously I need to set up an appointment for that, so that if I don't have it with me, or if they're in my showroom, I'm like, here, okay, let's check this out. What is it that you need to know about this, right? Now, another important thing is, what is it that they need to know about the product, maybe that they didn't know about, right? This is an uncovering question. Do you know much about this product? Well, not really. Can you tell me about it? Well, I know, that I used to have a Kia, as an example, if you're in the car industry, I used to have a Kia, 4 years ago, but now there's so many new upgrades. Yeah, let me tell you about the, the brakes, the head-up display, all of these, the Bluetooth, wireless and all the rest of the stuff, the Bluetooth stereo. You're telling them things that they need to know in order for them to make a favorable decision, but you're asking them what they do know or what they don't know. Very important. Now, number 5 is what I call the trial closes. In other words, I'm saying, so if we were to, deliver this by this time, would this be something that'll, you're happy to make a decision moving forward today? Yes. So I just want you to imagine for a second that, we've built the house. What type of maybe lawn are you looking at, having with that? Or, you're going to have the sort of pergola at the back, or, if you were going to do the pool, what sort of shape would you have it in? And if we get that shape, would this be something that you're looking at moving ahead with today, right? Or, if you're a pool builder, as an example, is this water feature the style of one that you want? And if you were going to do that, are you kind of ready to go today? And I just keep on talking. You see, that's what's called a trial close. If they answer yes or no, it tells me how I need to maneuver within the sale. Oh, no, we're not quite sure because we're not sure about if our backyard can have this type of pool. You go, fantastic. So if I was to come out to your property and maybe measure and give you a bit more of a better example, would this work for you? Can we set up an appointment? Yes. Do you see, that's a trial close. I'm looking at, how I can make sure that I'm listening for the right sales language, so then I can maneuver around it, yeah? And number 6, that's most important, that most business owners don't do. When you get the uncovering question, you need to then give them a call to action. What should they do next? Because then the client's waiting for you. A lot of business owners think that it becomes pushy. It's absolutely not. The client's already engaged with you at that level. They know your expertise, so you want to ask for business, or you want to at least take it to the next level and say, look, here's what we should do next. Or, hey, if you're ready to go, how about we get some paperwork done now? Terrific. So do you see, having this process in place now gives you structure. So number one, what's their objective? Number two, find out a bit about them, what their needs are, what their likes, dislikes are. Number three, when is it that they're looking at, moving ahead with this? Number four, what do you need, see, and feel in order for you to move forward with this? Number five, some, trial closes in there to make sure you're good to go. And then number six, ask for the business. If the only thing that a prospect can say is no, fantastic, you can always deal around that, right? Now, if you want to know any more about selling, just let me know, right? We love helping you with that, because I don't believe that it's actually the word selling. It kind of sounds weird. I believe it's actually communication, because if you communicate well, make it super easy for the client to do business with you and make it win-win for both parties, only good can come. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you need us, send us an email at ask@nickpsaila.com. Until then, I look most importantly forward to seeing you on the upside.